What is going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be making a mod list video of my 2015 Subaru Legacy. I'll just go over what have I put on it, what the parts worth putting on the car, was it worth the money, did it make the car any better, did I notice a difference, and what are the future plans for the car. So I'll start with the exterior here. I want to apologize. The car is extremely dirty and I was going to clean it, but ended up just not having time. I have a dinner to be tonight and I just didn't want to shower again. I didn't have time for it all, so I just changed the lug nuts just for the colors, and the valve stems, they both match, they go together, and they look way better than stock chrome tiny lug nuts. So I switched those out to go with the red theme. If you'll notice that as I go throughout the video. But moving on to the next one is the Rally Armor mud flaps. I custom ordered these from Rally Armor because they only offered them in black in this model, and I wanted red to go with my theme and stand out more. So I reached out to them, got them custom made. So I got them in red. I've had them for a few years now. They may not look good right now because they're dirty, but the quality on them is incredible, totally worth the money. They look way better than the stock splash guards that come on the car. And super clean, super easy to install, and 100% worth it. I have them obviously on all four here, the rear ones here. Moving on to the next mod I did to the car is the Cusco rear tow hook. Again, red to match the rest of the car. This one's actually for a BRZ, which is how I bought it, but they have the same pattern, thread patterns. Next one here is the badge overlays. They're from Pro Stickers Emblem Overlays. They're the 5D carbon fiber with the red stars. And you notice I blacked out the chrome here. I blacked out all the chrome on the car. So the Legacy's blacked out, Subaru all-wheel drive, that's all blacked out. So I'll walk around the car, show that. That was probably one of the bigger projects I took, just because it took so long spraying on all the coats and the taping that I went through, but it was very well worth it. Did the grill. It's got a few chips. I probably need to correct some of them. But here's the front badge overlay. And the driver's side. So if you look at it, I did a pretty good job for my first time with plastic. That's just dirt. But I've had it on for over a year probably now, but it's held up pretty good. My lights, they are not clear. They are the Dragon Laminates overlays. These are the Neo Green laminates. As you see, they change colors, and I know it's almost ricey, but I think it's really cool. It's head turns. I don't know. People are turning their heads. I don't know if they're looking at it in disgust or if they like it, but I get a lot of looks in it and a lot of compliments, and I love it. Here are the front ones. The fogs probably need to be redone, but I don't know. We'll see if I want to go through with that work again. They change colors, and I'm happy with that. I picked this one, even though it's green. There's still a lot of blues and teals in it, and I think it's pretty sweet. And the next one is that the car is lowered. I have it sitting on H&R lowering springs. I've had those on for around 2 years, I think now, coming up, yeah. And I've been super happy. Make the ride is a lot more stiff, sportier, and less than $300 for the springs. It was well worth it to me. It makes the car ride totally different. You lose some of the comfort, but that's okay. I wanted it a lot more sportier, and there weren't any companies offering any coilovers at the time, so I couldn't get coilovers. I think the springs lower the car in maybe 1.4 inches all around. So it doesn't completely ruin the drivability of the car. I could still daily drive the car, but it's not monster truck height as they call it. Still plenty of ground clearance in the front. The only thing that ever really scrapes, which hardly scrapes, doesn't do any damage, is just the mud flaps, because those are they only sit a couple inches off the ground there. Stuff really is the exhaust. I took that other side out, give it that track pipe feel, but a lot of people give me crap for it, but I kind of hated the cutout being in there. It just didn't look good since it wasn't one piece, so I just unscrewed it, took it out. But I have a nameless 4-inch muffler axle back, and then I took a 2015 WRX mid pipe and I cut it off at the Y pipe, had an exhaust shop weld up and mandrel bend a custom piece in there to bolt up to the nameless. And instead of the stock was like 1 3/4, 1 7/8, I don't remember. And now the WRX is 2.5-inch piping, so a little more low end torque and a lot better airflow through the exhaust. I don't know if it's not going to make that much power because it's naturally aspirated. The car's not turboed, so the bigger piping wasn't really a big deal or anything, but it is a lot louder now because there's no resonator. Just a tiny muffler, and I like it. It's extremely loud. I might add in a resonator just because there's a little bit of rasp and downshifting. When I'm flooring it, I'm on the gas. It's not a big deal. It sounds really good, but the downshifting, when I get the RPMs really high and it's falling back down, there's a little bit of a rasp around 4,500 RPMs, and I kind of want to get rid of that a little bit and make it a little bit better. So the exhaust, maybe I'll add in a resonator, but other than that, I'm not going to change out the exhaust. I'm just going to leave it because that's the only option you really have without going the custom route. When the engine's cold, I'll be honest, it sounds horrible. The rasp is absolutely awful. So that's partially why I want to get it fixed. Even though the car is not going to be cold while I'm driving all day, the engine warms up obviously, but there's still the rasp while it's warm, and I kind of want to get rid of that. Alright, that's it for the exterior. So moving on to the interior here, there is really nothing done. I used to have these paddle shifters extensions from Subi Speed that were really awesome, and but I believe set screws inside of them, they created grooves onto the back of the paddles when you screw them in, and they eventually just slid right out of the grooves, and they kept falling off, and it got to the point where every time I hit it, it just fell off. So I gave up on those. The next one here is I have a Escort X80 radar detector. I think it's awesome. People, they debate back and forth whether radar detectors actually work or not. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but it has saved my butt many times. You'll know whenever I see it's beeping, I always just caution. I go the speed limit. I'm always going the speed limit, right? So it's not hardwired. I would hardwire it, but the effort to go through that, I don't know if I really want to on this car. Maybe on my next car. Hopefully on my next car I actually want to buy the 360, the $600 version one, which I think I saw the other day it was on sale for $450, which is a pretty good deal, but I got this one for $300. And the other one here is the seatbelt pads, the Subaru seatbelt pads. They're nothing special, but they make the seatbelt a lot more comfortable. It's now just lightly the pad up against your chest instead of the seatbelt. Alright, that's it for the interior, so let's pop the hood. Boom! Look at that, 60mm turbo. No, I'm just kidding. Really nothing special here again. There's not really much available for the car, and just try to make the most of it while I can. So here for engine dress up, SSD alternator cover in red. Doesn't do anything, looks cool. I liked it. I got it right before they stopped selling it actually. It looks sweet, super easy to install. It goes along with everything. Next one here down there this is actually another WRX part off of the FA20 motor, which is a Grimspeed lightweight crank pulley. The stock one is like 5.5 pounds, and this is, don't quote me on it, it's less than 2 pounds. It's like maybe 1.5 pounds, 1.75 pounds maybe, I don't know, remember. That was a little bit more of a pain to install. So when we took it off for the first time, we realized that the O-ring, the backing piece technically, whatever you want to call it, on the WRX it's 2 separate pieces. On the Legacy here it's 1 piece. So I had to go to Subaru and order a new backing piece. So I took it off, and when we put it back on, we called Subaru for the torque specs, and they said it was like 150 pounds. So we tightened it down to 150 pounds. Then when we went to take it off the next time to put the lightweight crank pulley on, it was impossible to get off. It took me like 10 minutes to get it off, and it sucked. But I don't think I torqued it down that much the last time, and haven't had any issues. And they just rebuilt the motors, so whatever it's torqued down to now, it's not my fault if anything happens. So there's that. It's honestly, yeah, it's not a boosted engine again, so not too much performance gain, but I like to think that on the butt dyno there's a little bit, it revs happier, faster, but nothing really noticeable. Any mod, if you just do 1 mod, it's not going to do anything. If you do 10 mods, then you're going to notice a difference in the end. And that's what I like to think about this, is that I've done a few things to it. Over a stock car, it's for sure faster over a stock Legacy. Like, that's without a doubt. The car drives way better. So with the intake, it's about 47% better airflow. There's not all the extra jugs on it, and the sound, it's purely for sound, really. It says it gives you like 7-8 horsepower, something like that, but who actually knows? Had the car on the dyno, but I don't know the true accurate readings of it. So next is the SSD strut tower bar. That for sure is worth the money, without a doubt. I got that for 180 bucks maybe. Like, it was super cheap and super high quality, super easiest thing I've installed on the car for sure. You just do the 4 bolts, and then you just put it back on over the bolts, and that's it. And that has definitely made over the car swaying back inside and crosswinds, cornering, huge noticeable difference. Absolutely love it. That was one of the first things I did to the car. The car is tuned. Now, what do you tune a naturally aspirated car for? It's actually a transmission tune, basically. I did it with Throttle Happy Matt there out in Australia. Actually, he remote tuned it, so I sent him out my base files, and then he tuned it, and then he sent the files back. Now, he knows what he's doing. He has cars there, people there. I talked to people who firsthand experienced it with him there, and they said they loved it, made a huge difference on the car, and made the car faster. Stock 0 to 60 is like 10 seconds, close to that, a little less maybe, and 0 to 60 after the tune is more closer to 8.5 seconds. So the transmission is drives much more smoother now, way faster shifts, and helps out a lot. That was 180 bucks for free retunes for life. He was gonna get me an E85 tune, but never received that. I would have liked to have gotten that just to try it, see if it was worth it, the difference. Other than that, I believe that is all I have done. Like I said, not a whole lot, but I hope that this was helpful, and this will kind of give a benchmark where my car is at. Future plans for this car is there really are no plans. I don't plan on doing anything else to it. I hope hope to get a project car, maybe a 335 BMW or a Nissan Skyline R32. But unless I come across like a cheap sway bar and end links, then maybe I'll buy those and put those on. But other than that, I don't think I'll be doing anything else with this car. I hope to have a new car in the future and have much more content with those cars. I hope this video is helpful. If you're not subscribed now, subscribe. If you liked the video and you thought it was helpful, give it a thumbs up and stay tuned for my future videos.